When is the right moment for a relationship to become official? For some, it's when you introduce your partner to your family and friends, while for others, it may involve moving in together or making other major changes. For 21-year-old Lily James, she was still figuring it out. She had been in a 5-week relationship with a colleague, but it wasn't working, and they decided to part ways. However, just days later, Lily's lifeless body was discovered at her workplace, leaving everyone shocked, confused, and frightened. What happened? Who was responsible? Where was the perpetrator? As the investigation unfolded, disturbing and perplexing details came to light. The case of Lily James, which took place only last year, remains terrifying, leaving people wondering if even their workplaces are truly safe. If you're new here, I upload new true crime documentaries every week. No unnecessary drama, just the facts. If you're into that, hit the subscribe button. It's free and keeps you updated on all my future videos. Lily James was born on May 21, 2002, to Jamie and Peter James in Sutherlandshire, New South Wales. She also had a younger brother. Max. Sutherlandshire is a picturesque and peaceful residential area surrounded by beautiful beaches, a place where Lily was born and quickly became a natural fit. Much like the town, Lily was vibrant, full of energy, independent, and stood out from the crowd. She attended Danebank Anglican School for Girls and graduated in 2020. When it came time to choose her major, Lily knew exactly what she wanted. She enrolled at the University of Technology, Sydney, studying sports business. Lily was someone who loved staying busy. She enjoyed sports, dancing, performing, and spending quality time with her family and friends. Additionally, she was a water polo coach at St. Andrew's Cathedral School. Water polo ran in the James family. Her father was also a coach, and Lily followed in his footsteps, eager to pursue her passion. Her dedication to the job was evident, and the students she coached adored her in return. However, Lily could never have imagined that this dream job would also be the last she ever had. While coaching at St. Andrew's Cathedral School, Lily met many people, but one stood out: Paul Tyson. Paul was charming and sweet, and while he wasn't the only one to catch Lily's eye, his family was especially notable. They were wealthy and well-established in the corporate world, enjoying a life of privilege and luxury. Despite their demanding careers, Paul's parents always made sure to give him the love and attention he needed. Paul was their pride and joy, described as composed, calm, and generally a fun person to be around. In 2015, Paul attended St. Andrew's Cathedral School, where he became a sports captain and a part of the school leadership team. He also worked as a cricket and hockey coach and as an after-hours coordinator at the school. Additionally, Paul was the hockey coach at St. Vincent's College in Potts Point. As if that wasn't enough, Paul was also enrolled in a Master of Teaching program with plans to become a teacher. Like Lily, Paul was also a very busy person. At the time of the case, he was living in a semi-detached house with 3 housemates. According to them, Paul was a quiet individual, preferring solitude and not socializing much with others. Paul and Lily initially became friends after meeting at St. Andrews, but things took a romantic turn in September 2023. While Lily wasn't looking for anything serious, just some casual hangouts, she and Paul were on the same page. Their relationship began secretly, as Lily didn't want rumors to spread at the school. After all, a no-strings-attached romance wouldn't look good at a Christian institution. However, their friends knew about it. The relationship wasn't serious at first, lasting only about 5 weeks before Lily decided to end things. The exact reason for the breakup is unclear, but rumors suggested that Paul may have been controlling, which Lily didn't appreciate. While Paul appeared to handle the breakup calmly and didn't resort to violence or try to win her back, deep down, his ego was bruised. He had never experienced rejection from a woman before, and Lily's decision left him furious. What Paul wasn't accustomed to, however, was his ex-girlfriends going missing, and that's exactly what happened to Lily just days after their breakup. On October 25, 2023, Lily spent the morning with her parents, having breakfast, chatting, and watching TV, before heading off to her coaching shift at St. Andrew's Cathedral School. The school was in the midst of important exams in the gymnasium, and tables had been set up for the students coming in the next day. The exams caused a slight change in Lily's schedule, but she was still expected to return home at her usual time. However, that night, she didn't. Her parents waited for hours, trying to reach her through calls and texts but received no response. This was completely out of character for Lily. In desperation, Her parents filed a missing person report. That report, though concerning, wasn't the most alarming news the police received. Just hours later, they received a call that would send them rushing into action. Someone reported a body in the gymnasium bathroom at St. Andrew's Cathedral School. At the same time, Lily's father, Jamie, received a message from Lily herself. Relieved but still worried, Jamie opened the text that read, "Come to school. Trouble." Jamie immediately became concerned upon receiving the text. Not only was it vague and alarming, but it also didn't sound like something Lily would normally say. He quickly responded, asking if she was okay, and then made his way to the school. However, when he arrived, he was shocked by the scene that awaited him. Police cars flashing red and blue lights, crime scene tape, and officers crowding the school's entrance. A frantic Jamie was desperate to find his daughter and take her home, thinking that the trouble Lily referred to was something minor, like needing a ride. But when an officer pulled him aside, Jamie's heart sank. He knew in that moment that his life was about to change forever. Before Jamie had even heard about what was going on, investigators had already arrived at the school in response to an anonymous call. Inside the gymnasium bathroom, they found a scene that could have been pulled from a nightmare. A woman in her early 20s lay lifeless on the floor, her face badly beaten, and signs of a violent struggle filled the room. Tragically, the woman was soon identified as 21-year-old Lily James. The heartbreak was compounded by the fact that a family friend was the one to identify her body. It's unimaginable what must have been going through that person's mind at that moment. For Lily's parents, it felt like their world had come to a screeching halt. Jamie had only come to pick up his daughter and bring her home, but instead, he found himself confronted with the unthinkable, his bright, kind, and beloved daughter lying lifeless in a cold bathroom. The grief and horror that overtook the James family were overwhelming as their peaceful evening turned into a nightmare. The case quickly made headlines across New South Wales. While crimes in isolated or less trafficked areas can be expected, one occurring at such a prestigious school was unthinkable. Even more shocking was the fact that there was no overnight security at the school, a glaring oversight for an expensive private institution. With 1,450 students and annual fees ranging from $23,000 to $41,000 Australian dollars, one would expect the school to provide security personnel. In the wake of Lily's tragic death, an investigation was launched without delay. The authorities didn't have to search for long to find a lead. A name kept resurfacing as investigators spoke with Lily's family and friends, still reeling from the news of her death: Paul Tyson, Lily's ex-fling. Adding to the suspicion, it was revealed that the pair had broken up just days before the tragedy. The detectives now faced the urgent task of locating Paul. But where could he be? Thankfully, the CCTV cameras around the gymnasium and throughout the city played a crucial role in the investigation. As the school was sealed off for investigation, St. Andrew's Cathedral School sent emails to students informing them that the school would remain closed for the rest of the week due to a critical incident. Exams were rescheduled to other locations, and the entire Sacs community was shaken by the news of Lily's death. While piecing together what happened to Lily, the investigators first turned to the CCTV footage from the school gym. What they discovered would haunt them forever. The footage revealed Lily's final moments before her death, and even more chillingly, a man, likely the perpetrator, was seen following her. On October 25th, Lily spent the day coaching students, and around 7 p.m., she was seen heading toward the gymnasium bathroom. Shortly after, a man followed her into the bathroom. For an hour, there was no movement. But then, the man emerged. Lily did not. You've likely guessed by now who that man was: Paul. Paul, the man Lily had recently been romantically involved with and had broken up with just days before, was the one who had brought her life to an end. At that point, the detectives had many questions. Why did Paul do this? Was the crime planned, or was it an act of uncontrolled rage? But time was of the essence, and they needed to find Paul quickly to get some answers. While the investigation was underway, the detectives caught a break when they learned of Paul's last known location. How did they find this out? It turned out that the anonymous tip and the text sent from Lily's phone to her parents had been sent by Paul himself. Investigators traced the phone's location to Diamond Bay Reserve, a rugged cliffside area overlooking the ocean. But what was Paul doing there? Though the exact reason remained unclear, the CCTV footage provided key insights into Paul's movements that night. When the police arrived at Diamond Bay Reserve on October 26th, Paul was nowhere to be found. They then reviewed surveillance footage and made a crucial discovery. On October 25th, at around 8:47 p.m., Paul was seen parking his silver Lexus near the reserve. At 9:04 p.m., he was seen exiting the car, carrying a bag, and walking away with a calm demeanor, terrifying, considering the events that had unfolded just an hour before. 8 minutes later, at 9:12 p.m., Paul was captured on camera walking back to his car, without the bag. He then sat in the vehicle until about 9:49 p.m. before driving off. The investigators knew they had to search the area Paul had been seen walking toward. When they reached the spot, they found a metal trash bin. It was clear what they needed to do next. The search of the bin uncovered a hammer along with some of Paul's personal items, including a pair of AirPods and a backpack. Upon inspection, detectives confirmed that the hammer was most likely the murder weapon. However, Paul was still missing. Meanwhile, Paul's silver Lexus was found in a nearby parking lot. The police traced the vehicle's rental records and discovered that Paul had rented the car, using it to drive to St. Andrew's Cathedral School on the morning of October 25th. Since Paul already owned a car, the question arose, why rent another for that day, especially? When Lily's body was found at the school, the detectives would have to look into this later as they were still focused on locating Paul. Had he fled the city? Was he hiding? Or had he returned to his home country, the Netherlands? Given his affluent background, this wasn't outside the realm of possibility. The investigators were under pressure, racing against time to apprehend him before he could escape the consequences of his actions. But nothing could prepare them for the shocking development that would alter the course of the case in the worst possible way. On October 28, 2023, around 1 a.m., construction workers spotted something floating in the water near the rocks at the Gap, a notorious location in Sydney, Australia. The Gap, situated at South Head in the eastern suburbs, is known for being a site where people tragically end their lives by jumping into the deep Tasman Sea. Given that Paul's last known location was just 5 minutes away from the Gap, investigators feared the worst. By 9 a.m., they launched a recovery operation using boats and helicopters to retrieve the body. However, the strong winds made the task difficult, and helicopters couldn't safely reach the spot. After multiple attempts, the body was finally recovered by noon with the help of jet skis. The area was cordoned off for investigation. Sadly, through dental records, the body was identified as 22-year-old Paul Tyson. Police believe Paul arrived at the Gap around 10 p.m. on the night of October 25th, after killing Lily. There was a few-hour gap before Paul contacted the authorities at around 11 p.m., confessing to his actions, after which it's believed he jumped to his death. This left everyone, including the investigators, with one lingering question: why? Why did Paul resort to such brutal violence? Although Paul didn't have a history of abuse or criminal charges, it became clear that his behavior had been erratic. In a shocking revelation during a 60 Minutes Australia episode, an anonymous ex-girlfriend of Paul came forward, describing how he had become obsessive over where she went, who she was with, and everything else in between. This was a chilling glimpse into the darker side of Paul. At one point, the ex-girlfriend had tried to end things with Paul, which triggered an explosive reaction from him. He punched a tree in a fit of rage. When she questioned why, his response raised red flags: "Because I can't punch the one thing I want to." If that wasn't chilling enough, Paul began stalking her, even peering through her windows at one point. When the ex noticed and screamed, her father chased Paul away with a cricket bat. It was clear that beneath Paul's charming exterior was something much darker, something that surfaced when he realized he was losing control. Investigators also looked into whether the attack on Lily was planned. They soon found evidence supporting that it was. The hammer used in Lily's attack had been purchased from a nearby hardware store just days before the incident, around the time Lily ended their relationship. Paul's decision to rent a car that day also suggested a level of forethought. Criminal psychologist Tim Watson-Monroe believes that Paul had a clear, malicious intention to kill Lily, which he executed with a calculated and calm mind. After the breakup, Paul likely felt a loss of control over Lily and resorted to violent revenge. While much of this is speculative, it appears Paul's intentions were disturbingly clear. Additionally, sending a text from Lily's phone to her parents to lead them to the scene of her death shows a disturbing level of cruelty, possibly designed to torment them. This could be the ultimate act of evil, exposing a heartbroken father to a horrific scene. The aftermath of Paul's death left the James family without any chance of closure. The pain of not knowing why Paul did what he did lingers. Jamie, Lily's father, will never forget October 25, 2023. The grief felt by both Jamie and Peter, Lily's mother, is unimaginable. Peter, who is battling melanoma in both lungs, now faces the added heartbreak of living without Lily's voice. The physical pain of her illness is compounded by the overwhelming grief, which only worsens her condition. Lily's funeral on November 17, 2023, was a celebration of her vibrant life, attended by hundreds who wore bright, floral clothes to remember her at her best. The James family continues to honor Lily's memory through the joyful moments they shared with her, whether walking in the park, strolling by the shore, or just being at home. Lily's presence is everywhere. Jamie, filled with deep sorrow, struggles with anger toward Paul, referring to him only as an evil monster. Despite the ongoing sadness and rage, the James family is channeling their pain into advocacy for better safety in relationships. Lily's death was senseless. Her life was taken without reason, and the pain of that is unbearable. One man's fragile ego and emotional instability have left two families with an empty chair at the dinner table. And that is a reality no one should have to face. If you have enjoyed the video, then make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out any other latest videos. Thanks for watching.